Gye-Nyame man. I was born for greatness. My greatness comes from my potent sinner. I pledge to find and connect with my sinner. I pledge to build my spirit, mind, and body. I pledge to use my hands to build a better world for myself, my loved ones, and my community. I pledge to use my mind to think deeper, further, and higher to create a better reality for myself. I pledge to live my life and go beyond all my self-imposed limitations. I pledge to promote the principles of the Gye-Nyame warrior and to assist all those seeking the path of success. I pledge all these things first to myself, my teachers, to all my relations, and to my higher power. I am Gye-Nyame. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. That is the Gye-Nyame pledge that is said by all of our true members at least once a day. Peace and welcome to our YouTube channel. Check out our videos and podcasts. Subscribe as well as join the journey. Push past your self-imposed limitations within the Gye-Nyame journey. Peace. Alright, family, I want to welcome everybody to this podcast. But before we start, my beautiful daughter wants to say something. You shy now? Is that all you want to say? So what's up?
What's up?
Alright. Tell them good night.
Good night.
Alright. She got to get ready for school, but getting them ready, you got to get them trained. As challenging as it can be. So hey, I want to let y'all know you are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. I am your host, and of course, this is Folk Tales for Grown Folks. So put the kids to bed. We about to have some deep conversation, and this is a Heart of a Simple production. We strive to blow up those old pairs. Family. I am trying to tell you every day that I am on this Umoja challenge, right? For some of y'all, it's just a 21-day challenge. For me, it's been a challenge every day. I've been doing my push-ups because I have to say the days of the week because other people don't understand me, other people outside of our culture, other people outside of our community, other people outside of our tribe don't understand what I'm talking about. When I say Umoja, Kuja, Shakali, Ujima, Jamani, Kumi, and Mani, they think I'm talking about Kwanzaa. They don't realize that I'm talking about the very day that we are resting in right now in this moment, right? So, it's good to be here. It's good to be in your presence. It's good to be blessed by those of you that take the time to come and join me. You know what I'm saying? I want to thank those that be coming out for the Daily Toast because the most important broadcast that I do every day is saluting our ancestors, because I have dreams about our ancestors being neglected and nightmares about our ancestors wanting to help us, but they can't. Why? Because we are not providing them with the energy that they need. We might not be able to control our economic situation. We might not be able to change our political situations or control it. We can change it, but we might not be able to control that situation. We might not be able to control the social environment in which we are. We might not be able to control the education system, but we can control how we celebrate ourselves and our ancestors. That is the first start. That's the first step to us building a successful culture, because all cultures lift themselves up. All cultures lift them up, no matter how repulsive, no matter how low belly crawling the people are. Their culture always lifts them up towards the divine. And we need to start making sure that the culture that we are building right now today is lifting us to where we need to be. That deserves life. So family, those of you that are joining us on the Umoja challenge, whether you're trying to lose weight, whether you're trying to get a sense of peace, whether you're trying to find joy, whether you're trying to fight erectile dysfunction or fight your impotence in your life, whether you're trying to grow spiritually, mentally, physically, whether you try to connect with your intuition, this system can help you. Brother Hatim, how can you say all these things? How do you know all these things? Because my ancestors have taught me to learn to trust the process. That's right, a process, right? Now, what is the process? The process is simply step one, learning how to identify the days according to your culture. Learning how to monitor time according to your culture. Learning how to build according to your culture, right? Step one. Then we start adding in other practices. We start adding in diet. Those you that want to take the diet challenge, the warrior diet challenge. Those that want to do the meditations and learn the breath, the breathing exercise. And let me say this, because for the next couple of days, I'm going to be covering the breathing exercises on the daily toast, right? And let me tell y'all something, man. The more I research, because I've been doing breath exercises for years, but the more I do research into the breathing exercises, the more I start to realize that many of us, because the Ambrosia have already shown me this, but many of us are suffering from ailments that we can easily overcome by learning how to breathe properly. You know, my whole piece now is tell people, don't be a mouth breather. Stop breathing out your mouth, right? Stop, you know what I'm saying? You know, don't take no breaths in through your mouth. The mouth is for eating and drinking. The nose is designed for breathing. And in that, that's one step closer to us being able to think clearly and liberate ourselves. All right, so I ain't gonna hold y'all too long tonight. It's one of those nights I'm excited. I want to jump into a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm gonna slow down and we're gonna focus on the folk tale. I don't have too much news tonight. You know, the Great Pumpkin is on the road. He's doing his thing. Shouts out to Sister Gloria Long. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for shouting me out and saying good evening to you. Those of you that's on the line, that's right, 614-556-4535. Those of you that are on the line, feel free to call in and join the conversation. The lines are open. Let me make sure that y'all have access to the Nguza Cyber Challenge. I'm really pushing this. It's free. See, because I know for a fact that when people start experiencing some of the changes, man, please, y'all gonna be like, oh man, nah, for real? Yeah, for real. Once you start experiencing it, it's just that simple. You will be like, hey, we're gonna take this far, because some of y'all gonna be out there be like, yo man, when are you gonna do the warrior training? When you gonna do the warrior challenge? When you gonna do the 21 week? 21 days, hell with 21 days. What about the 21 week? Right? Because that one is coming too. And that one, not only, see, because 21 days just gives you a nice little flavor, and it gives you a little control, feel what it feel like to be in a little bit of control of your life, right? Then once we start doing the 21 week, it's on and popping. I'm not playing with y'all. Listen. So, let's get into the folk tale. Oh, those that may not be able to get up early in the morning, but you want me to shout out your ancestors in the morning, now is the time to start posting up the names so I can write them down for tomorrow, right? Every day I wake up and I do the daily toast. And I shout out ancestors. So if I got a list, I can go and shout them out. You can sleep in, know that your ancestors got toast. Get up and toast them at your own time, right? But I get up and I try to do the show every morning, or at least Umoja through Nia at 4:15. Pumbaa and Imani, you got to catch me when you can. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, yo, I'm not up to the point where I'm doing it that early in the morning. I'm going to take another glass of water. Then we're going to sip on some ambrosia. And then we're going to jump right into the folktale. All right? So, lines are open. The folktale tonight is a simple one with a basic truth, and it will change your life. Tonight, It's brought by that ambrosia, and we are doing the Death Eater. Nope, I haven't cleaned out the bottle because if I clean it out, it's for y'all. Because I love keeping all of the all that goodness to myself. Those are probiotics, family. You need to get some in your life. Some fermented foods. Bring some life to you. This right here is a straight grown man taste. Not a lick of sweetness in it. But it's made with green tea and honey. This means that my little probiotic buddies, my little scobies in here, right? The little family of scobies have worked together and devoured all the honey. Now, if I wanted to come and be bubbly again, all I gotta do is add a little bit of honey, shake it up, let it sit. I ain't gonna do that. Why? Because according to my with my warrior diet, I'm trying to cut down on sugars. All right, so we have a call coming from Atlanta, Georgia. Let me go and check my audio options and let the person on. Okay. Peace, this is Gye-Nyame.
Joining conference now. This call is being recorded.
This is Brother Hot Tim. Who's joining me on the line?
Dredge Big Nick calling from beautiful Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay, what's your name again, bruh?
Dredge the Beat Nick calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
Welcome to the show, my friend. We're about to kick this proverb. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right.
Yo, Hot Tip, that's a celebrity, yo. That's
what
the
you mean?
international beatbox champion of the world.
No, who is it? You said.
Dredge the Beat Nick.
Oh, for real? Oh, hey, man, welcome
Yep.
to the show. Now, if you want to beatbox, by all means, you can. But, hey, I know you want to kick the wisdom. But, hey, I'm like, yo, I never had a celebrity. Well, I mean, I take that back. Everybody that calls in to Gye-Nyame Journey, that calls folk tales for grown folks, is a celebrity. And
Okay. That's right.
So,
That's right.
thank you for taking the time and sharing your and sharing your wisdom with the people. So here we go. I'm gonna read this folk tale real quick, and we're gonna jump right into it.
Got it.
Woo! Here we go. Today, the folk tale is called "The Lion and the Three Bulls." 3 bulls for a long time pastured together. A lion lay in ambush in the hope of making them his prey, but was afraid to attack them while they kept together. Having at last, by guilefully speeches succeeded in separating them, he attacked them without fear as they fed alone, and feasted on them one by one at his own leisure. In union is strength. Very simple, but yet very profound and very pertinent for where we are in America today. I'm trying to tell you, man, where my lightning at? I mean, that one is simple, straightforward, but I'm telling you right now, the levels we're going to be able to take that in the discussion is going to be ridiculous. So now, class is in session. Shaka, you know how I roll. Do you want to start off? Or do the guest, the beatnik, want to start off? Or do y'all want me to start off? Because y'all know once I get going,
You know what? It's too many heads on here that I want to hear from. I'ma pass it.
All right.
I want to hear from Dred. I want to hear from you.
Uh-oh. So we have a request.
Well,
You ready? You want to cover this one for us, brother?
sure.
You want me to read
Sure.
it?
What's up?
You want me to read it again?
No. I heard it. Well, here's the thing. I mean, it's rather basic. I mean,
Very.
in its approach, it's strength in numbers. I mean, a team is always stronger together than apart. The whole, I can give adage upon adage upon adage. There's
Right.
no I in team. No one can make it out here alone. I can even go back to poetic, I can even pick the poetic justice for y'all. Like nobody can make it out here alone. It's just a fact of life. Like it's it's harder to conquer the mountain solo than it is with a team. You know, and you take care of those that take care of you.
There you go.
You have to take care of those that take care of you. Like, I wouldn't have been able to do half of the things that I've done in my life and in my career if it wasn't for having good people around me and recognizing that and, you know, being humble enough to say thank you. You know, that's just how it works, man.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So, because you obviously in the entertainment field, so
yeah,
you have experience. You have had experience in the music field with lions trying to wait and beguile the other bulls that were around you.
Mm-hmm.
How do you overcome that? I mean, in a business situation, and in entertainment, because we got a lot of young people that will be listening to this maybe in the next couple of years or whatever, because we doing this not just for now, we're doing it for our legacy. We're doing it for our children. So how do you stop those lions with the beguiling speech? Because we know when somebody wants something, they get really, really convincing.
Well, excuse me, pardon yourself. The way it has worked for me is real simple. Acquire knowledge. Learn as much as you can, and while you're in this journey of discovery, you'll begin to know and master self. And that's kept me out of trouble. Like knowing my line of work and everything that goes into it, all the ins and outs, intricacies, all of it. Knowing that and being educated on how to succeed, or just even like the simple terminology. You know what I'm saying? Just when you're acquiring knowledge, you're mastering the skill of covering your own ass.
Mm.
And when you're able to cover your own ass, nobody can get to you. When you embrace the idea of working together instead of working apart, things become easier. Like the one thing that I love about this business is that you honestly can't do it all by yourself. It's too many jobs within. It's too many jobs and responsibilities within the space of creating a hit. Let's take that for example, or just making a song. Like, you know, you have singer-songwriters, great, but you still need producers. You still need background singers. You still need musicians. And DJs do count as musicians, by the way, in what I'm saying. You still need music publishers. You still need management. You still need distribution. You know what I mean? Like, there are plenty. You still need a booking agent. Say the song hits. You still need relationships with radio stations. Like, all of this, you still need to learn how to become a master politician with what you do. So, you know, acquiring knowledge and mastering self are the two most important things that I would tell anybody, and I have told anybody who is wanting to listen. You know, like this, like you mentioned, like this is, I don't do this, I do this, this is the thing that I love to do, like beatboxing and hosting and speaking engagements and, you know, and all of that stuff. But it's the thing that I love to do, but I also do it because this is my legacy. Like, this is the thing that I'm going to leave behind. You know? It's, like how, like, my first album would never have been inducted into the National Smithsonian Museum of African American History and Culture. That would never have happened if I didn't have people with me to help make that happen. You know, like, I mean, you gotta think about this. Like, I released my first album. That's the album I'm speaking about. I released my first album in almost 20 years ago. Actually, not almost 20 years ago in 2001. I did that in 2001, and
Have Mike Will travel?
yes, sir. And when I thought about doing it, could you imagine, like me? Could you imagine me talking to you and saying, "Hey, I want to make an all beatbox album," and I think it'll do something. If I came to you with an idea like that outside of, oh, it sounds interesting, it sounds, sure, like the novelty of it, but like, would you have taken it seriously? Like, I went through 15 producers trying to find one that would allow me to use the studio to create what I created. Nobody wanted to do that. And it's like, yeah, like, well, I got beats. It's like, yeah, and I appreciate that, but the vision of what I want to do is, it's all voice. It's a vocal hip-hop album. Vocal percussion, lyrics, spit, that's it. Nothing else. And when I found that one person, and shout out to my man Top Cat with Mascom Productions, if he said yes when everybody else said no, and gave me the platform to do it. It could have sucked ass, it could have been, it's alright, but it's now a piece of American history. And that's because I didn't do it by myself. I had a team.
So building the team. Now, when I look at these folktales, I try to look at them from all angles. So we got 4 characters in this story. We have 3 bulls.
3 bulls, 1 lion.
1 lion. Now, to be successful as a people, we got to look at it from both ends, right? Because, of course, we always look at most people focus on...
Tim, let me tackle it.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna take it to the total, and Dres, I totally appreciate all of your insight and your experience and your success as well as your suffering in that, because I know what that's like to get somebody to believe in something as intangible as that idea, because it's never happened before you. All right, now I, on the other side, can take this, the story of a lioness that wants to feed her cubs and this herd of bulls in the water. The piece is that in Sahara, the water is the enemy of the lion or the lioness. And she hunts. She does not want to go into the water because of the predators there, because she's just as susceptible to the crocodile in the water. But when the bulls, they cling together. When they see a lioness, they run to the water for refuge. But the thing is that they become clumsy in the water. And in this particular story, the lioness sat on the side and watched how vulnerable they became, because when they came together as a team and they came together and splashed in the water for refuge, they become sloppy and disorganized because they are empowered by fear. You understand? So when the lioness evolves in that understanding, she starts to use the water as her friend, she overcomes the bull.
Overcomes the unity. So now, because like now, let's take this, because from the individual level, we know that unity within our groups are very important, and we see this happening all over the world right now. We see it happening with the elections. We see it even more now at this point in time in our life than any other time, because right now if you turn on the news, you're hearing about nationalism, even though on a lot of the public news stations they're not talking about nationalism, but every country is battling nationalism or going into nationalism. That's what Brexit was about. That's what this last election in France was about. Whether they was going to go to a nationalist platform or they was going to stay pro-Europe. You know what I'm saying? That's what's happening all over the world now. Everybody is circling the wagons. Everybody are like these bulls in the pasture. And of course, you got these lions waiting, because basically what the lion was waiting for was an opportunity. So we could look at this from a whole bunch of different angles. But the idea is, one, when we discuss the stories, get the wisdom from both ends. Because now let's look at it from the lion point, looking at them in the pasture. The lion saying, damn, this is a business I want to break into. This is a business that I want to conquer. You know what I'm saying? How do I conquer the business? And they say that the lion was beguiling with his speech, right? So one of the things that we're learning from this folktale that we got to make sure that we're able to do, as well as our children, because people have been doing it on us for a long time. And I think one of the things that hold us back a lot of times as black folks is that we're so righteous that we're not touching the earth or sky anywhere. You know what I'm saying? When in fact, in order for us to live in this world, sometimes we got to get in the dirt. I ain't talking about hitting the streets like some of these brothers are doing out here, but in business, in politics, sometimes we got to hit the dirt. You know what I'm saying? That means we got to beguile and be like this lion, because if we want to eat, like Shaka said, we don't know the lion's backstory. Whether it's a lion or a lioness, whether they're in the water or they're in the pasture, we know that this lion has to eat. And many of us are sitting in a situation where we have to eat, but in a sense, we don't want to do what other people have been doing to us for a long time. We want to break into industries, and we want to break into industries in a way that we have been told to break into them. But many of us, like for example, I'm at 49, right? And I'm doing everything that I was told I was supposed to do to be successful, and the shit is not working. You understand what I'm saying? Right? You know what I'm saying? And now I'm looking at certain industries, and I'm looking at certain ideas, and I'm looking at certain things as a lion on the outside, looking at a unity that they will not let me in. They won't let us in banking. They really won't let us in on politics, although they will let a few of us through. You know what I'm saying? It's certain things that we need to start looking at, like this lion, right? How do we get individuals that have something on lock to start breaking up so that we could at least get our foot in edgewise? Because we know that once we get into the industry, once we get into the business, we're going to eat it up. You know what I'm saying? How do we train our young people so that they can start looking at the opportunities and look and say, well, damn, although they look like a tight group now, what are the keys? Because you gave some of the keys. Now, is it Drez? You gave some of the keys, because you said, one, staying loyal. You said, one, understanding that is not just you. And we know a lot of our competition out here, you know what I'm saying, regardless of color, a lot of our competition out here, a lot of these individuals start honestly believing that it's all about them. And they're forgetting about their team. Right?
Right.
So the lion was able to do that with the bulls, because the bulls thought that they were safe because of, well, I'm stronger than him and blah, 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 not realizing it was the unity that kept the lion up off their ass in the first place. And
let me add something.
Go ahead.
Because I really want to emphasize that the point that I was making, that no matter what the numbers is, if the individuals are captivated by fear, that is the vibration that will infect things. That is the sentiment that will destroy whatever the collective design is. If there is no, because like you said, everything has a process, everything has a protocol.
That's
so
right.
does fear. If we are not organized and we're not training our team to move and to fortify themselves through a time of war and disposition, then how do we how do we get them to overcome fear without invoking fear?
Now, so that's
Knowledge.
so you going back.
Knowledge.
You going back.
It all
Go ahead.
it all boils back down to knowledge. Education. If you know what you're doing, you're not fearful of failure.
But hold on. Let me say this. One of the issues that we have with a lot of us, as well as our young kids, we came up in an environment where failure was seen as a sin. As a matter of fact, failure is looked down upon so badly within our system. Is like, for example, a child bring home a F, right? The parents automatically is whooping ass because my kids don't get Fs. And it's like we're teaching our kids and we're teaching ourselves that we're not supposed to fail. Failure is the wrong thing.
I get that. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but in the example that you're providing, it's a little bit more. It's a longer process to get to the F than something immediate.
That's true.
Like if we're talking about the kid bringing home the F on a report card, that F grade is the result of weeks and months of curriculum. Something went wrong, and yeah, there should be a point of reflection. Because I agree, like even through failure, there's a lesson. I see where you're going with that, and I agree. But where we stop ourselves as a collective is that we don't go back and analyze how we got to the F. We never do that. It's like, oh, you failed, blah blah blah. You know, you're supposed to be self-correcting and all of this self-correcting instead of, hey, what did we? You know, what I mean, how can we fix this, or where did it go wrong? You know, no matter what the subject is. You know, we never take the time. We never take the time to investigate and research how we got to the conclusions that we've gotten, how we got to the results that we've gotten, whether the results were positive or negative. If it was a positive outcome, we need to still learn how we got to the positive outcome so that we can duplicate the process and duplicate the steps to continue to be successful. And the same lesson goes in failure. Like, okay, how did you trip and fall and stumble from a 100 to a 69 to 65 or lower? Something happened along the way. Let's figure out what it was. We don't. Yes, sir.
We don't sit down and go through, like you said, we don't go through that process with our children. We don't go through that process with ourselves. And we definitely don't go through that process as a people. You know what I'm saying? As a group. You know what I'm saying? When it's a possibility, because it's a possibility that other groups do that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not really concerned about comparing ourselves to other groups at this point in time because we don't know what they do. You know what I'm saying? But we know what we have to do to be successful because right now we are the group of bulls sitting in the pasture, moving in different directions at this point in time. And the lion, who just happens to have a wig on and is orange, is waiting. You know what I'm saying? This is the manifestation of the lion at this present time. You know, the lion changes, and it's like we got to make sure we're not a generation where the bulls separate and fall prey to the same old divide and conquer tactics. It's sort of like, I'm starting to feel like, you know, I used to watch a lot of Bugs Bunny cartoons. You know, I came up before cable, you know what I'm saying, and Bugs Bunny was a big thing, and they used to run reruns all the time. And I started noticing that Bugs Bunny used the same tricks over and over and over again.
And over and over again.
And I'm starting to feel like we are caught in the Bugs Bunny loop. Where we keep falling for the same shit over and over again in our personal lives, in our professional lives, and in our tribal or community life. We fall for the same shit. It's like, last week Bugs Bunny came, the one trick where he dresses up like a lady, and this week he got on the red wig. You know what I'm saying? Next week he got on a blonde wig, and then this week he's a brunette. You know what I'm saying? It's like we being fooled by the same trick over and over again, and we're not catching it, and we're moving in separate directions. You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying we're perpetually Elmer Fudd or Yosemite Sam?
Right. Culturally, we are, and really, when it comes down to it, it's the same relationship, because Bugs Bunny is a star and became famous off of the failure of Elmer Fudd and Yosemite Sam. If they didn't fail, Bugs Bunny would not be a success and would not still be a cartoon that our children are watching right now. Bugs Bunny's whole piece was his success comes off of the failures of others. And in a sense, this is the same relationship that we have with American society. American society succeeds off of our failures. And we keep falling for the same trick. We trying to get that rascally rabbit, right? You know what I'm saying? And we have them in our hand, like, we had them in our hand, it seemed like, for 4 years, for 8 years. We had the rascally rabbit in our hands. And we let them escape. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, they using the same tricks. I'm like, when we going to catch on? You know what I'm saying? And I could no longer ask that now, because when I was looking at it when I was young, I was a child. Now I'm the one looking at the rascally rabbit right now and saying, oh, this motherfucker's not gonna do this to me. I don't like redheads, don't like blondes, and I don't like brunettes. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So you ain't gonna fool me with that and the little kiss that he always gave Elmer Fudd and jump back in the hole. You know what I'm saying? Because go ahead, bro. You know how you got to do it on the show. You got to just jump in. You can't act.
Right on. Now, this is what I want to say, man, is that sometimes, all the time, as parents, as master teachers, as nation builders, we want people to pay attention to the process as it's moving along, because we want to show them how, indeed, it does work. Sometimes the process does not work, and that is no fault about it. Sometimes the process doesn't work because it's not the right candidate.
Okay.
And that is the point that we have to be aware of, because sometimes there are candidates put through our processes just so that on the outside looking in, we can be disempowered from a state of that disillusion. Like, oh, well, the naturalists tried it this way, and you see what happened to such and such. Or, for example, I'll take the fraternal process. All right? The fraternal process in Black Greek organizations, it has worked in some scenarios. But how do you feel, what do you think that the Qs are feeling like right now after watching on national TV one of their bros just going on the deep end, Stevie Steve out of Cleveland, just on some real cowardice stuff, where I thought that this process was supposed to make him a better man? What happened?
I don't know. I'm lost. What happened?
Oh, Stevie Steve, you're not hip to that? Dre, did you hear about that down in Atlanta? This brother Stevie Steve went on Facebook Live and said, you know what? I want everybody to know that because of this woman who broke my heart or whatever, people gonna die today because of her. And he said, I already killed 13. This is around the corner from where I live.
Oh, that dude. Okay.
Yeah, the Facebook ball.
Yeah. Yeah. And he went up there.
Now the thing is, when you said Stevie Steve, like, you do recognize Steve Harvey is also with you. So it's like, I can't speak for everybody. I'm like, you talking about Steve Harvey? And I don't,
Oh wow.
What?
No.
Yeah. So anyway, but
I mean, that's a pertinent point too. But
The Michael Jordan, they're all feud. How do they? I mean, does it even reflect their process because that one individual went on the deep end?
right.
Does
But
it?
that's when the journey of discovery begins. Like, okay, there was a glitch in the system, and this happened. How do we? What happened? And what happened get to that point, and what can be learned to make sure we never get to that point again?
You know what I'm saying? Now that is something, because that's sort of like what Karis wants to say about hip hop. You can't really comment it unless you're doing it. So that's a question that we need to pray that the brothers of Omega Psi Phi is really looking at. You know what I'm saying? Because they got to correct the process. Because we can look on the outside and be like, well, that, you know, but I hope they're not like, well, just because he was a Q don't mean that, because a lot of times what we do is, because basically that's how that's how the Bulls do it. Well, he said that ain't got shit to do with me. I'm going over here on this side of the pasture. You understand what I'm saying? You know, and I'm going to even change it like this, because Shaka brought up a point of it might not be the right process, and I'm thinking like the Bulls for a second. The Bulls were safe as long as they stayed together, because the Lion was terrified of all three of them. And I think the strategy that they have for this Lion, being that they are in the pasture, which means they are in a place where they don't leave. The pasture is usually fenced off and they're not roaming. So this Lion is always there watching them. You know what I'm saying? I think that part of their strategy, they need to change their strategy and they need to go beat that Bull's ass. You know what I'm saying? I think one of the issues with us a lot of times is that we're waiting for somebody else to move when we know. Like, for example, George Bush calls it this. He called it a preemptive strike. You know what I'm saying? You know, sometimes we might have to initiate the strike when we see the enemy sitting on the bow. I don't necessarily know what his intentions are, but looking at his history, lions eat meat. He looks at me as meat. He's staring down at the pasture where me and my partners are lying. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we might need to do an assault, because we are bulls. And I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Sometimes, so maybe their process, because waiting for the enemy to strike might not be always the best thing to do. And in a sense, that's the position we have been in for a very, very long time.
Yes, sir.
You know, that's kind of dangerous talk, but, you know, I'm throwing it out there, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you know, the Bulls' whole strategy was, as long as they was together, was wait to react to what. So the Lion is in a position of power. You understand what I'm saying? In the folktale, the Lion is in a position of power.
Mm-hmm.
And because the Bulls are waiting for him. And in a sense, I think, you know, I mean, like, you know, with some of our processes, we might need to start looking at how can we be proactive. All right, we're not going to wait on this chessboard for you to make your move. You know what I'm saying? It's been too long. You know, timed out. You know, it's time for us to make a move. You know, you know, and that takes a certain amount of courage, because that means now, instead of me waiting for you to bring the fight to my field, I'm coming to play you on your home court. You know what I'm saying? I'm coming to catch you by surprise.
I'm glad you just said that, man, because I was just thinking about that. I was just thinking about man's court and how they isolate you. They divest you at the door to make sure that you're not armed, so that they feel
safe. Right.
And walk in there, and then they put you through this cycle of imaginary rules that really don't apply in the outside world, but in man's court it does. And my whole point is right now at this point is that when the lights go out in America, whether it be caused by solar flares of Jupiter and retrograde or how have it, real power still remains. But that's not in man's court. Real power outside of that, when the lights go out, all has to do with 3 G's. Guns, gold, or God. If you ain't got those 3 things, you're irrelevant.
You left one out. You left one out. I honestly believe you left out, for me, the most important one. And the major reason I started doing my podcast was tribe, friends. See, because bigger than the gold and pretty close to the guns. I could have a cache full of guns. And I could be in my house by myself, safe with my family. But I only could take 2 of those guns at a time. You understand what I'm saying? I need people that I can trust and rely on with skills. You see, the goal, you know what I'm saying? Think about this. If you are alone and you have a cache full of guns and gold, you still have to go trade that gold for what you need. If you go trade that gold by yourself during hard times, you're more than likely to lose your life, because whoever wants that gold is going to take it, and they're going to come and take your family. If you are by yourself, it don't matter how much gold you got. It don't matter how you believe in God, and it don't matter how many guns you got. That's why we got to start looking at the whole loyalty piece, right? The whole family piece, the whole friends piece. Are you a true friend? We got to evaluate. We got to start evaluating the people that surround us. You know what I'm saying? As bulls. Hell, or as lions hunting. You know what I'm saying? Or is this person down? If the lights go off, can I trust this person with my life? And better yet, can I trust this person with my children's lives?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because that's the ultimate power. See, that's what a lot of people have in a culture that we don't have, because a lot of our loyalty is for sale. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
And because we act as what they used to call them back in the days, people that got paid for it, they called them mercenaries. Because we mercenaries, we don't have a home. Mercenaries don't have a home. I could buy you from Florida, bring you up here, and as long as I'm able to pay you, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to be able to get out of you what I need. You don't have a home. I have a home, and I'm paying you to protect my home. Right? Now, the point is, the only point I'm trying to raise is that, like, for example, in Gye-Nyame, we talk about honor, loyalty, and sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? Because the human development part of that, you know what I'm saying? When we start getting people to value each other and look at the value of somebody deeper than just how much they got. You know what I'm saying? Look at what do they bring to the circle. You know what I'm saying? Because some people look at because we all got the comedian in our crew, right? And people look at that and be like, oh, that's not valuable. You know what I'm saying? Thanks for sharing, brother Issa. A lot of people don't think that that's valuable, but in dark times, you're going to want that individual to make you laugh. So get that man that meal. You see what I'm saying? Y'all going to need jokes. You're going to need, you know what I'm saying? We always, you know what I'm saying? Then you got that like Shaka.
So that brings me to my major point, man, because you got those fools sitting there, and you asked the question earlier, why sit and wait? Why are we reactionaries? Why are as the 3 bulls sitting here, why not take action now? Because the lights are still on, and the courts are still dividing our families, simply because we have not made an impression on their family. Simply because we have not made the impression that judge such and such and magistrate such and such and prosecutor such and such, I can show up to your dinner table, to your children tonight as well. We have not. And they're still dividing our family just because, in their minds, they're secured in the idea that we fear their process because we have not stood up in the light.
Not only, but now, in order for us to stand up, we have to have something to stand up on, right? They stand up on their culture, right? You might not agree with it, but their laws and stuff support their culture. Where are your laws? Like, for example, what is the consequence for somebody that's in your culture for not doing what they're supposed to do. Now let me tell you what their consequence is, because I was in the military. If during a wartime, if I refuse to follow an order, the officer has the right at that point in time to end my life. If I do not follow the rules of their culture, they have the ability to incarcerate me indefinitely. But what are the consequences? What are the benefits and the consequences of your culture? And we don't have that. You see what I'm saying? We don't have that. Other than, he wasn't gonna be mad at me, he ain't gonna be my friend no more. You see what I'm saying? They have connections that if they break a connection, they are out here by themselves. If they break a rule within their circle, they are floating out here on a life raft surrounded by sharks that are waiting to eat them up. What about you? Somebody break off from us. Like one of the bulls break off. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
What happens to them?
They gonna get got.
Right.
The lion gonna get them.
The lion gonna get them. Now, but what if we handled the lion and he broke off? He cool. He doing him. Leave him alone. You know what I'm saying? For a culture to exist, there has to be the positives as well as the negatives. We don't have them. Everybody that look like us in America, that's in the situation we are in America, could do what the fuck they want to do inside our neighborhoods. Because you know why? We're the only ones that believe in freedom or the illusion of freedom. And we fully act out in it, especially amongst us, against us, because there's no consequences. But let it come to court time. You know what I'm saying? The roughest, thuggiest motherfucker out in the hood is going to put on the suit. You know what I'm saying? Put on his best shoes, walk into the court, hoping for the best. Right? For a traffic ticket. You know? He'll murder one of our kids. And just walk around the hood as if nothing happened. Because he know it ain't. You know what I'm saying? So the whole point is, when we start talking about culture and we start talking about nation building, we got to be bold enough and men enough to talk about the benefits of being part of the culture, because also being part of a culture, there are benefits. There are certain things that you get. Like, for example, back in the day, when the major reason a lot of people used to join a lot of fraternal organizations was because the fraternal organizations would make sure that if anything happened to them in some form or fashion, the family would get a little bit of money and that person would be guaranteed to be buried. What do we guarantee? I done seen elders in our movements, in our nationalist movements, in our red, black, and green movements, in our Christian movements, die broke, and their family begging for them to be buried. I done seen them go up against the system, crash against the system, and when they needed assistance, they was by themselves. Now, is that a culture that you would want to really, you know what I'm saying? Is that a culture that you really want to go to battle with? Or go to battle for? You know what I mean? So these are the questions that we got to roll around in our head and in our little private circles. We got to start having these conversations, because this is not a national conversation. This is a conversation for us in our tight-knit circles, because the lights can go out. I'm not one of those conspiracy, but the lights can go out. When the lights go out, who can you depend on? See, because I know for a fact, I could be like, boom, all right, I might not know how to do these skills, but the lights go off here in Cleveland. If I got enough gas, I could drive up and get Shaka, or I could go up to where Shaka is, and I could bring Shaka back here, or I could take my family up there, and I could give him my skills, and Shaka bring his skills down here. I don't know how to fix a door, Shaka. They kicked in my door. Shaka know how. I know from my experience with Shaka that Shaka know how to put the door together. Well, I know how to organize people and get enough and make sure we got food coming up here. So long as I'm able to feed Shaka, Shaka can fix the shit around the house. You know what I'm saying? Shaka can make sure that we got a base where we can survive. so we could benefit each other. What is the benefits that we have for each other? I'm sorry, I ain't mean to get off into the dark moment and shit, but
No, I mean, the thing is, like you said earlier, sometimes you got to go through the dark to get to the light, man.
Oh,
it's all
man.
necessary and it's all relative, right?
yes, sir. You know, but I try to keep
I get it.
I try to keep the shows
Dude,
too.
but-
Oh, go ahead, bro. I'm sorry.
But that's part of the show. Like, I mean, I as a listener, if I'm saying, like, I have to, at this particular point, I have to be okay with going in the dark in order to get to the light. Like, that's just part of the content. Like, if there's a problem, you know how it go somewhere else. But you don't want them to go, but man,
Right.
you doing what you're supposed to do, brother. Like, don't trust me. While the message in the sermon may not touch the entire congregation, somebody gonna feel it. You feel what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, on that note, I have to go because my phone is at 2%.
Hey, and
But,
I dig it.
I definitely want to thank you guys so much for extending the invite for me to call in and allowing me to build on, to build on what we're dealing with and what we're talking about.
We do.
Brother Drez, Godspeed.
Yes, sir.
Godspeed. It was meant to be.
We do this show every Tuesday. Oh my God, I owe push-ups. Every Coogee Chagalia, I changed the days of the week. I conquered them. So every Coogee Chagalia at 9 p.m. Feel free to join us. We do one tomorrow at 9, and we're gonna work on some proverbs tomorrow. So thank you for joining us. And like he said, Godspeed. I want to thank everybody for joining us. If y'all have any last words, throw them in real quick, and we're gonna get on up out of here.
This is Drez the Beatnik here. Once again, thank you guys so very much for allowing me to share in the meal that's been served. I appreciate the time to talk, the wisdom, and the overall conversation. If you're ever in Atlanta, you can find me on all things social media at Drez the Beatnik. And if you can't, it's DRESTHADEATNIK. If that doesn't work, just go on Google and hashtag follow the hat. Just like it's spelled, follow the hat. So, thanks.
Thank you.
History making, y'all.
That's right.
Black Phoenix, Drez the Beatnik, Gye-Nyame Nation. Yo, this is a big, big night. It goes beyond the dialogue, really about what we do the rest of the time. It's really how we transform our words into action, into behavior, into movement, and this is what's happening right now. So, shout out to the world.
All right. And I want to send shouts out to Brother Essa, or Issa. I want to send shouts out to Sister Gloria Long. Of course, to Brother Shaka. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, because some of y'all are not showing up. I don't know what's going on with Facebook. I'm going to hate to have to move the show to somewhere else, but I mean, I want to see those hands in the air. So make sure you like and share, right? I want to thank everybody that shared. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, and I hope some of y'all build up the courage to call in, because you never know what your wisdom, how your wisdom might affect somebody. And last but not least, let me say this. Don't be a mouth breather. Y'all got to check me out in the morning to catch that. So this is Brother Hatim, and I am out.
Peace.
Peace.